Greetings everyone, this is Alt Lexington on the 7th of August 2019 and look at this. This is the Risian pilot Corvette, a Tier 6 ship. I've called it the U.S.S. reality dysfunction. I'm going to attempt to make another video with this ship because I realised that my last video had some sound issues and it was just an off-the-cuff video, but then most of mine are. So I'm in riser orbit, and let's start by showing you the build that I put on this ship. I've gone with a pulse phaser cannon turret build for no particular reason except that I just like them because they're gold coloured. And that's pretty handy because I've also included the Terran Task Force cannons because they're also gold in colour, and so is the Terran Agony phaser torpedo. So my ship shoots lots of gold rain over a target, and I like that because it is a flashy, sporty hot rod type thing, so gold is a good colour for it. I've added in the colony deflector because it gives you more critical chance and critical severity. I think that's the Dranor colony. And I've also got the colony warp core on there, although they're not part of the same set, they're standalone pieces. The reason I've put the colony warp core on is lack of options really, but it does give you a plus 66% power transfer rate, which is always handy for when you hit emergency powered weapons and you want to transfer your auxiliary power into your weapons. I've gone with the two-piece of the Nukara set from the Nukara reputation, the Nukara impulse engines and its shield. Some people would go with the competitive engines from the competitive reputation here, but I find them a little difficult to control. They tend to give me the speed boosts at the wrong time and cut my speed when I don't want it cut. So I've gone with the Nukara engines instead because I can pair it with the Nukara shield as a two-piece set, which will give me, if I go into more details, an added 5% weapon damage bonus for having two pieces of this set on. I'm including the Soliton Wave Impaler, which is the experimental weapon that comes with this ship, because why not? It's always good to try and have a look at what the actual gear that comes with the ship does, but I haven't had a chance to upgrade it yet. Apparently it does radiation damage to an enemy, and quite a lot of it. I've also included the console that comes with the ship, the enhanced subspace wake generator, which mostly I'll be using it for a bit of a speed boost really, although it does do some physical damage. This console comes from the Lobby store. It's become a bit of a friend to my builds because it helps keep me alive due to the fact that it gives me resistance to damage. Quite a lot of resistance actually. And that goes nicely with my armour that also gives me resistance to damage. Not as much as neutronium, but it makes up for it by giving my ship hull capacity and more shielding. So it's every bit as good as neutronium, even if it doesn't give you the same amount of resistances as neutronium does. Or that's how I see it anyway. I don't claim to be an expert ship builder or anything. I've also included Domino for its 15% extra phaser damage, because I'm using phasers, and 20% accuracy, because people say you need a lot of good accuracy with cannons, with cannon turret builds, so I figured I'd stack some of that up. Further to accuracy, I've put on Weapon Sensor Enhancer. I think this came from the Lobby store, but I'm not sure. But it gives me plus 42% accuracy rating. So I've got quite a bit of accuracy on this ship. I noticed in various plays with this ship that the shields tend to be pretty worthless. They tend to disappear very quickly in combat. So I've put on 2 restorative particle focusers from the Delta Research Lab fleet holding, and I've made sure they have the Drain-X mod on there twice, so it says ×2. That will prevent my shields from being drained so easily by the enemy, because they do drain fast on this ship. And it will also allow my weapons to drain enemy shields a bit better. I didn't go with vulnerability locators like is normal, or those new Draenor Colony consoles into here, because to be honest I don't really like these days to max out for DPS. I like a bit of survival, and putting those consoles in my tag slots would mean I lack other things that I want to use. And let's say these consoles are pretty good anyway. This one, Bioneural from the Lobby store, that's mostly there for its critical severity, but it's also very good with hull capacity. And a little bit of control resistance, which is always good in case you get caught in a tractor beam. Tachyokinetic Converter, another Lobby store console with crits, severity and chance, and more control resistance, but mostly it's for the flight turn rate, because as an engineer I lack a bit of speed and turn rate, because I'm used to flying cruisers. So these are usually go-to consoles for my builds. DPRM. This comes from the prototype Dreadnought that comes out of a lockbox. It's probably one of the best consoles in game because it gives you both damage resistance and extra energy weapon damage. Well, extra energy damage period, so it works with my torpedo as well, because my torpedo is a ball of phaser energy. This console comes from Captain Archer's NX class Enterprise. It boosts projectile damage, but I've mostly got it on because it pairs with DPRM as part of a set. So if we go into more details, you can see that the set bonus is a massive 33% extra phaser damage. So that is boosting my firepower very nicely. Temporal Negotiator. This will reduce the cooldown on science team, tactical team and engineering team that I've got down here. because these are my heals that I tend to rely on most. Like, science team will heal my shields, engineering team will heal my hull, and tactical team directs my shields between me, my best shields power between me and my enemy, my target. And if I'm about to die, and these are all have already been used and are away and can't be used again, I just hit Temporal Negotiator, and these become available again, or close to available, because their cooldown is reduced. That's why I've got this. And Red Matter Capacitor, that's just a power boost when my 4 power systems down the bottom here start to drain. I can hit red matter to give them a quick boost if I'm in the middle of a combat and I need a bit more power. I could have gone with energy amplifier batteries here from the R&D Beam School, but on my day-to-day play I don't tend to like to use consumables because it can get a bit pricey. I'd always be crafting batteries if I was to use them over and over again. Now if we look at the mastery is complete on this. This is the fleet version of the ship, so it's got pilot maneuvers. I'm not using any visuals, I've just gone into the tailor and put on my own little combination of decorations. And if we look at the stats, you can see my power transfer rate is well above 200, which is the bare minimum you really want to have. But it's not quite as high as I would like, but it's high enough. So I can transfer weapons between my I can transfer power between my 4 power systems at quite a decent rate of speed. Like if I want to hit emergency power to weapons, all this green power will go into my weapons. And this will increase the speed that green power channels into my weapons. I believe that's how it works, but I'm half asleep at the moment, so I'm not entirely 100% certain. My hull capacity is very low for an engineer, but I find that's not really a problem on this ship, because this ship is fast enough that it can avoid a lot of the enemy fire. My shielding is not very good either, so I've increased my shield power levels down here so I can get a good shield regeneration rate. It's not brilliant, but at least it helps me to get my shields back up a little quicker. My resistances on this ship seem quite okay actually, because I've got Bounty Hunter's Friend and the armor and DPRM boosting them, so they're nice. So I've got plenty of resistances, so I should have some good survivability despite having low shields and low hull, because I've got good resistances and good shield regen. Thanks to this weapon sensor enhancer, I've got some good accuracy here. When I first built this ship I did get the accuracy way above 100, around 130, 140, but I thought that was a bit too much, because ultimately accuracy will be converted into critical severity. If you're over 100% accuracy, then any additional accuracy will be converted into critical severity. I look at these 3 like throwing darts at a dartboard. Accuracy determines how many darts hit the board, critical chance determines how many of those darts that hit will land in a double or a treble, and critical severity will determine whether it's a high double or treble, like a double 18 or double 19 or double 20. tactical stats. We got a little shield penetration going on and a little improvement of hit chance. Science, we've got plenty of shield drain and drain resistance and not much control resistance. However, I found that on this ship I needed the shielding more than I needed the control resistance. I did originally have one of these consoles with Control X, I believe it's called, mod, and I found that the shielding was more beneficial because in my bridge officers I put on a tool polarized hull which helps me to maneuver when I'm caught in a tractor beam, so I shouldn't really need much control resistance. Engineering stats, plenty of maximum hit points and a bit of torpedo resistance. And speed and turn rate, well, that's just naturally good on this ship because it's a hot rod. So the speed and the turn rate is way more than I'm used to. But mostly that's due to my skill tree where I've got pilot specialization, which increases my speed and turn rate massively. And that's my primary specialization. And strategist as my secondary, mostly for diversionary tactics. As you can see, my skills themselves are tactical ultimate with very little in science and shielding. Mostly it's firepower and a bit of hull. Traits, well, I've got the cannon training and both torpedo which boosts cannons and both torpedo which boosts torpedo. I didn't put on the other cannon thing. Where is it? Deft cannoner, because all that does is increase turn rate, and I've got plenty of turn rate. That doesn't increase your firepower like if you were doing a beam build, beam barrage. Inoculus, which reduces threat, which is always good, but it gives you crit severity as well. This doesn't really do much. 1%, 2%, it's not really much, but there's lack of options, and I can switch this out for other things if I wanted to, if I was experimenting. Nadion pipe pass is good for an engineer because it gives you extra weapon damage every time you click Nadion inversion. More accuracy for my cannon turret build. Elusives, because as I say, my shields go down quite a lot and I need to avoid enemy firepower. And Grace Under Fire, which really helps this miraculous repairs by reducing its cooldown and making it available more often to use, and that is essential on any squishy type ship. But not that I'm saying this ship is squishy the way I've built it. I've added in some survivability. Down here I've got Go for the Kill from the Jem'Hadar strike ship. That's only available from R&D boxes, but it increases my cannon rapid fire, and this is a cannon rapid fire single target build. More about that in a minute. This comes from the Arbiter battle cruiser from the Sea Store, and it increases your weapon's firing speed So instead of going pew, 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 you're going pew, 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 pew. But it does drain your weapon power a bit quicker. However, there is minus 50% weapon power cost for 30 seconds with this, so it doesn't drain it as much as you might think when firing faster. I've got Cold-Hearted from, I think it's the Breen Plesh-Troll or Plesh-Breck, it was a winter event free giveaway ship, a raider. And it gives me a bit of flight speed, a bit of damage resistance. Oh no, it doesn't. I'm reading it wrong. It reduces the enemy's flight speed and damage resistance, making it easier for me to kill them. Supercharged Weapons. This comes from one of the Odyssey Command cruisers, I believe. A flagship bundle. So each time I fire a torpedo, my energy weapons get a boost. And this one, let's have a look at the details on this one. Because this is the trait that comes with the ship, Rhythmic Rumble. When activating auxiliary to inertial dampers, which I haven't got on this build, or any pilot bridge officer ability, which I do have, I will get damage resistance, extra damage resistance, and my weapon power won't drain as much. The only reason I put this trait on this, and it says 0 here, but that changes during combat. The only reason I put it on the ship though is because it comes with the ship. So I've got the console and the trait and the experimental weapon, which are the 3 things that come with the ship, and I wanted all 3 things on here. There are better options, I suppose, but I just wanted to go with as it's intended to be flown. For space reputation traits, that's armor penetration, more critical severity in case I get a bullseye on the target, more critical chance to help me get those bullseyes, even more armor penetration, and we all need additional damage so we can kill quicker, because it's fun to kill things. And for active reputation, well, I've just gone with all the space ones. This is that big green shield bubble that your ship can put out and heals you. This is a temporary cloak. This is a burst of Tetrion energy that chains between 3 targets. The big anti-time bubble. And a good decoy. If we go to my bridge officers, as you can see, I've got 2 pilot stations because this is a pilot ship, and I've put in superior Romulan operatives for my 2 tactical officers on these pilot stations. Let's look at one of them, Chekhov. Named him Chekhov. Superior Romulan operatives come with added crit chance and crit severity. They have a space trait. You always want to put space traits for your Starship Bridge officers. You always want to find ones with space traits, and most bridge officers don't have space traits in this game, but there are some that have one and a few that have two. And you've got to find those few that have space traits, because it helps with your space abilities. Now, this is a pilot station, but I didn't put any pilot abilities on here because I needed my rapid fire for my single target shooting. Now, I could have gone for a full single target build by putting on high yield here, but I decided I prefer torpedo spread because it just looks better. But with rapid fire, it's basically a single target build, but not 100% due to having torpedo spread instead of high yield. Beta, I believe that reduces the resistance to damage that the enemy can take, so you can damage them more easily. As of course, tactical team puts my best shields between me and the enemy. Chemosite adds radiation damage to my weapon, so it's like I'm shooting dirty bombs at them. And pilot ability, attack pattern lambda to trigger the trait, the rhythmic rumble trait that comes with the ship. Let's remind myself what that trait does. Yeah, it gives me more damage resistance, and my weapons won't eat as much power every time I hit attack pattern lambda. I could have gone with a tactical officer here in this universal slot for more, another superior Romulan operative for more crit chance and crit severity, but I decided, since my science officer only has one ability, and I always like to have hazard emitters on my ship to heal my hull, I decided to make this a science officer. But I haven't got any exotic skills, so for control resistance I just put on polarized hull to help myself continue maneuvering during when I'm caught in a tractor beam or something. And since I had a third slot, I just went with something that would reduce the enemy's resistance to the damage I throw at them. This particular science officer is from a Delta Quadrant episode with the hierarchy, and if we look at his traits, he is one of the few officers that has two space traits in this game, and pirate gives you more weapon damage, so you always want this guy as a science officer on any space build really. And this isn't really necessary on an engineer, but it still adds something. For my other science guy, I didn't have any good option here, so I just went with holographic Spock. Where is he? Because excuse me, because I didn't have anything else to put on, and he does have a space trait. And for my engineer, I would have liked to have had a fourth slot here for what's it called? What's that fourth ability called that they usually have? Sorry, I'm half asleep at the moment. Where is he? He's a Nautican. And yeah, directed energy modulation I would have liked to put in the fourth slot if he had one, but he doesn't. So the reason I've got Yomper is because he's a Nausicaan. He comes from where are we? One of these. You've got to complete it to rank 4. I can't remember which one it is. I would guess it's recruitment. But once you get it to tier 4, whichever one it is, you can go to Admiral Quinn's office, and there's a guy there that one of the guys in his office gives you duty officers, and you can recruit him, and he has the pirate space trait for more damage. I went with reverse shield polarity. Some players would use emergency power to shields, but you can't use emergency power to shields at the same time as emergency power to weapons, because you hit one, both of them will become unavailable for a short time. So I went with reverse shield polarity instead, so that I can use this constantly and have reverse shield polarity available at the same time. And what reverse shield polarity does is essentially the same as emergency power to shields, except that it doesn't cost you any power. Instead, it tricks the enemy into charging up your shields until they realise what they're doing and remodulate their weapons. I don't know if that makes sense, but trust me, it works. You press that, and the enemy weapons will suddenly stop draining your shields and start charging them. But it won't last for long, because it won't take the enemy long to realise what they've done, what's happened. And all they have to do is remodulate their weapons to start draining you again. Or at least that's my roleplay idea of it. And finally, whoops, wrong button, we look at the roster. Now this is active ground. There's one officer that you need, that he's a ground officer, but he also works for space battles, which is crazy, because it says down here both space and ground maps. And what he does is gives you 5% extra damage. So I don't know how a ground officer can help you do damage in space. Maybe he's been down to a nearby asteroid with his rifle in his hand and he's shooting at starships as they go by to help you damage them. Maybe he's hanging out the airlock with a rocket launcher. I don't know, but it's always good to have him. I found him in the promotional tab of the C store, I believe. I'm not sure if you can still get him. Maybe he would be in the Phoenix box, I wouldn't know. And for active space, 2 damage control engineers, which will reduce the cooldown for emergency power to weapons. A projectile weapons officer, he comes from Nimbus Wasteland. You can get him for free, and he reduces the cooldown on your torpedoes, so you can fire torpedoes more often. Up here I've got crit severity for my projectiles. So crit chance for my projectiles, so my projectiles are more likely to get a bullseye on the target. Crit chance for my energy weapons, so they're more likely to get a bullseye. And crit severity for my energy weapons, so that my bullseyes will score better, hits. Now I haven't got any star-based combat boosts going, or research lab weekly combat boost, or any duty officer assignment boost going on. All I've got is my 700-day veteran, I can't remove that. And manoeuvring thrusters from pilot specialization. This is my keybind. All these abilities on trait 10 are bound to my spacebar, so if I spam the spacebar, these will just continually trigger all the time, over and over again, including attack pattern lambda for the rhythmic rumble trait. And I only put it there because I couldn't fit it here. Same with this level 63 engineering ability. This is from the console that comes with the ship, Subspace Wake Generate. Subspace Wake. Let's see what it does. I'll zoom out. Increases flight speed and turn rate, I believe. So if you're gonna die, you hit that to get out the way quick, so you can heal up. And it does, I think is it radiation damage or physical damage to the enemy? One or the other. This is the clicky from Domino, which will speed up my weapon firing. And we've got DPRM again. And this has become very important, Polarized Hull, because I don't have much exotic abilities on this ship, and I am susceptible to control effects. So Polarized Hull is quite useful too, because mostly enemies use, for their control effect, they'll use tractor beam, and this helps me to maneuver when caught in a tractor beam. As for my power levels, since I'm not running Orcs to Bat and I have no control abilities, I didn't need auxiliary. Also, I didn't need much engine power, because this ship is naturally a fast and manoeuvrable ship, plus I've got pilot specialization, so I didn't need that. So therefore, I could go max with weapons, and then whatever's left goes into shields. And that's when I let engines and auxiliary just lie where they fall after that. So now you've seen the build of the U.S.S. reality dysfunction, I'm going to take it into battle so you can see how it does. We'll do a couple of system patrols and then a couple of random TFOs. I think that will give you an idea of how this build is working, and we'll do them on advanced setting, advanced difficulty, so it's not too easy. So let's depart system and head for a system patrol. System patrols is where I get the most fun out of this game. I enjoy doing them because I can do them solo without letting the team down. So we'll start with Japori. That's a nice simple one to start with. We'll play Domjot against the Nausicans. Space Domjot with energy weapons. And if I remember, I will do the combat meter, although I don't really care about DPS these days. I'll just put it on and let you see the result. I don't know whether it will be good or not, because I don't know what kind of DPS is good or what kind of DPS is bad for Japori Advanced. So I just put it out there to show you what it does, bearing in mind I'm not using vulnerability locators or stuff. could hit quantum slipstream drive, but I think I'll take my time a bit because the system's not that far away. And let's hope I remember to actually hit that combat log thing, because 9 times out of 10 I usually forget and it stays sitting in my text bar and not entered into, not activated. Now this ship, it does die in advanced contact from time to time, in advanced content. So, but I've found that, yeah, all ships die from time to time, but this one seems to have some pretty good survivability, this build. So it doesn't die as often as I thought it would. I would have thought it would be a lot more squishy with such low hull and low shielding, but it's not. It's actually, its speed and turn rate makes up for it by avoiding enemy firepower. So let's enter Japuri Advanced and see what we do. Right. Click continue. Check, make sure the Enterprise doesn't turn up. Good. Enter the combat log. And approach the big target. Wait till we get close and then hit that space bar. Very nice torpedo spread. And you can see that swirly thing, that's from my level 63 engineering ability. It's not bad, it's cutting through okay. And this swirly thing here, I think that's from the experimental weapon, though I haven't really checked. My shields don't seem to be going down so much, but whenever I say that I usually jinx it. Now you always want to go for the stingers first in Japuri, because they will push you out of combat if they can. They're similar to repulsor beams the way they work. Keep your eye on your shields while you do, because you'll get flanked. So I hit reverse shield polarity then, so the enemy will charge up my shields for me. Simply having to raise my own power with emergency power shields. Now on this one you usually get a tank. That one's usually a bit of a tank. So I usually go in first, hit DPRM and Domino. Use a pilot ability to go backwards. Oh, and a torpedo spread at just the right time. I still haven't used the actual console that comes with the ship, so I'm going to give that one a go on this slot if I don't destroy it too quickly. Oh, there's a stinger. There's another stinger. Right, let's see what this console does. That's giving it, what is it? Physical damage or radiation damage? I can't remember right now. And it gives me a nice little turn rate boost. Okay, we're done. Now let's slash combat log 0 to turn the combat meter off. We won't depart system just yet because I've got loot to pick up. I just want to check what that console is doing. It's physical damage it does, but I see it more as a get you out of danger button with its flight speed and turn rate. Now, as for the combat meter, I'm going to have to click out and analyze the log, and then I'll pass it on to screen. 27.84k. I don't know whether that's good, bad, average, because I'm not familiar with what is right for Japuri, but that's what I did. Max 1 hit wasn't very good, but then again I wasn't flying all out, I was just trying the different abilities. I don't tend to fly out all out these days to max DPS. Okay, so pick up my loot, spam that F key. It's always good to pick up your loot, you really should, because even if you're just throwing it in the replicator, you'll be surprised how much you earn throughout a day's play. Now we can depart system, and we'll do another patrol. We'll do Beta Forador against the Klingons. I get my most fun in this game out of patrols. That's why I'm pleased to hear that they're bringing some new ones in before long. Something to do with discovery content, I believe, is it? I'm not sure. Something to do with the mycelial network, maybe. I'm excited about it, because this game really needs more patrols. It used to have a lot more. There used to be those patrols where you'd just go to any random system and be able to fly around a planet, and there'd be 4 groups of enemies you'd come across. And those were good. I used to like doing them, but they removed them for some reason. A nice slow crawl to fight the Klingons. My overall opinion of this ship is that it is freaking awesome. I've been really enjoying flying it, and I'm not one to say that ships are awesome when they're not. I will tell my honest opinion. If a ship is crap, I'll say it's crap. But this particular ship has been a pleasure. It's one of those ships that when you first try and fly it, you just love it. It fits very well with my play style, especially since I've recently favoured cannons more than beam arrays, which is an unusual choice for an engineer. I've favoured escorts with cannons rather than cruisers with beams. Anyway, I think I'll put the combat log meter on again. Because today is a good day to die for them, those Klingons. Glory to the Federation! I like a good turret kill. Didn't get one that time. I think with Klingons, if you go for their aft, not only do you get flank damage, but I believe on their bird of praise, their shields might be a bit weaker on the aft. Oh, let's hit that, just to see what it does. Gives me a nice turn rate. My piloting is piss poor, but I don't care. I fly more for fun than for skill. Oh, my shields are going down. I think the science team will be enough. Let's try Tetrion. I like that one. Tetrion really helps on this ship. Refracting Tetrion Cascade. It's almost as if the ship was built for that. don't want to go for the fighters too much because I can't stop spamming that spacebar and it eats my abilities up when I go for little to-Joe fighters. I like flying through explosions, like the Millennium Falcon and the Death Star. Or Battlestar Galactica fighter flying through a Cylon ship. I'm not really hitting any of my special abilities that much, like DPRM or Domino. Don't feel like I need them. I feel like the ship's a little overpowered, to be honest. That's why I love it so much, because I can kill quick. I do die sometimes, but I can also kill quick. / combat log 0. Not now, I've got loot to pick up. But before I do, I'll analyse the log and bring it in. 27.71k. Max 1 hit about the same as Japori. I don't know if that means anything to anyone. It doesn't to me. At this level of DPS, it doesn't mean anything to me because I don't monitor my DPS too often. And now loot, because the captain's got to get paid. Piece of candy, piece of candy, piece of candy. Okay. That's that dishonourable Klingon scum that have been killed. I don't know, were they House Torg? I don't know. Now, I'll just give a quick transwarp back to Risa, so we can do some TFOs. We'll do 2 random TFOs, I believe. Let's hope to God they're space ones. But I'm in a Risian ship, so I might as well start out from a Risa system. And I'll fly away from the crowd. So that I'm not being affected by their stat boosts. Or team boosts, or whatever they're called. Now if I wait for my power levels to settle, I can show what I forgot to show earlier. Right, everything's out. I can mouse over that and show you 2,300 phaser damage for the pulse phasers. That's the Terran Task Force phaser. The turrets. The torpedo. It's basically like a giant phaser cannon, that torpedo. Doesn't do kinetic damage, it does energy damage. And that's the experimental weapon that comes with the ship. So you can see what my numbers are. And to be honest, they're not that high. They could be a lot higher if I had vulnerability locators and stuff like that, but as you can see from those 2 patrols, I didn't really need those things, because the firepower is good enough as it is. Anyway, we're on, well, filter it for space, advanced. Let's hope it works and puts me in a space battle. I'll type in the combat meter first, just in case it's one of those you can do combat meter on. I don't normally do this, but these days, but just for the sake of the video, and join random. So, an advanced random patrol. Sorry, an advanced random TFO. Let's see what we get. Starbase 1! Yeah, that's easy. This patrol is particularly easy, but then again, it comes early in the mission journal. So it has to be a bit easier for new players. Because new players will come across this mission quite early in their leveling process. Let's wait for combat to start before I hit combat meter. Not that it will mean much in this particular match because it's not conducive for measuring DPS.
Here they come.
Combat meter. Full speed, find a target and shoot it. Oh, I seem to be a bit slower, but then I think random scales people depending on the team. Single target build instead of... I would think scatter volley would be more conducive in this match, but a multiple target would be conducive, but well, you can't just change your build every time you enter a match, especially if you're doing randoms. That Impaler seems to be firing quite often. What is it, Soliton Impaler or something? The experimental weapon I'm trying to think of its name. That's why you want torpedo spread. Let's hit some abilities just in case they come in handy. But combat's usually too fast for me to time when I put my abilities off. So I just usually fire them off in the hope they become useful. Haven't really needed pilot abilities, but they're fun to use. I like pilot ships when I'm running cannons and turrets. Although I don't like targeting, because in a forward-firing boat you always want to target the enemy that's in front, regardless of who's doing the most damage to you. And I often find my turrets are targeting something behind me, even though I'm heading to a specific ship that I want to be targeting. And I've told the game not to target the front lines first, but it doesn't listen to me. Just target the one in front when I'm in a cannon turret boat. In a forward-firing boat. But that's just my little whiny grumble, it doesn't mean nothing.
Reading some heavier ships incoming. Raiders and battle cruisers.
Tetrion. Did it do anything? I should really save this structural analysis for the bigger targets, but as I say, my piloting skill isn't very good, so I tend to mistime things a lot. Plus I'm trying to get some angles for the video that look good, so you can actually see the ship's firepower. Should have done a pilot maneuver then. I'm forgetting to protect the evacuation ships. So I'm too interested in just showing the ship off. And what I've done with it.
This is Andor. Our shields are taking hits, and we can use it afterwards. Andor here. We've taken heavy fire. Request assistance.
Hang on a minute, let's have a look down there, because I think we might need some assistance more than we destroyed that ship. I'm talking about the evacuation ship needing assistance, not that player, he's doing fine. Come on, target it. There we go. Let's aid the ship. Aiding. There we go. Overkill. Torpedo spread overkill. There's a big one.
The evacuation ship is walking. Give them cover.
Put a decoy down. Ooh, nice gravity wave. Sometimes you get a player in here that really knows gravity wells and positions them just right to group everything up for a nice good, to allow the escorts to do a nice good strafing run.
Here come the
Unloading
Klingon
all
battleships.
firepower.
Keep fighting.
Come on, target. I do have to tab target a lot more with a candy wrap, a single target build. Oh, I could have hit my subspace weight just then. No, I didn't. Oh, there's a nice gravity well. Let's unload at it. If I can get my abilities to not lag, to actually register when I click them. There's the big target. Oh, that's a bigger one. I'll cheat and give him an anti-time. I haven't needed as much healing as I expected I'd need. But then again, this is a particularly easier TFO compared to some. Some of the buttons I'm having to hit 3 times because they don't register because I'm spamming my space button too much. And it's overriding my clickings. And creating my own lag, so to speak. I really need to not rely on those space bars so much, but my thumb has a mind of its own. It's gotten so practiced at doing it, at spamming that space bar, it just does it automatically.
That'll hold them off. For now.
Okay,
I don't know how much longer we can
I
keep up with
unusually
this kind of
remembered
war.
my combat meter was
It was a
running.
good one. At least there will be a tomorrow.
Any loot about? There's not usually much loot other than loot boxes in this match. Do you know, at Starbase, it's like a upside down sword. Like, this is the hilt, and that's the handle down there. I always thought this starbase was upside down. But then again, we're in space, so there is no up and down. Anyway, analyse the combat log. Hang on, it says there's an error. One moment. Ah, there we go. $28.43k. Now, don't judge these team members by their DPS, because DPS is dependent on how far you are from the person who's measuring it, and I obviously wasn't nearby these guys, so they will register as less on my meter. They could have done more than me for all I know, I just wasn't close enough to register all their hits. Max one hit of 52. I didn't take too much. I hardly took any attacks in, actually. I must have. My manoeuvrability helped there, I believe. So that was the combat log. I don't know if that's a good DPS or not. I couldn't tell you because I'm not familiar with what kind of DPS is good and bad in this match. Or any other match except ISA, really. Now, let's do another one. One more TFO. Just to wrap up this video, and so you can see what I'm doing with this ship. And hopefully you'll get inspired to do something yourself with this ship, something good. Maybe you might even take some of my ideas and use them yourself. I mean, anyone's welcome to copy my builds, or any part of them, or whatever they want. That's fine, I don't mind. My builds are usually copies of other people's anyway. Oh, this is good. Oh no,
The Herc are about
yeah,
to overrun this planet, and time is...
it's the swarm. Uh-oh, I'm in a single target build in a match that requires multiple targets. Multiple target build. Oh well. But I've got this console, which might help. So if I get too many Herc on my tail, I can hit this. Interesting. That might be fun. I love this match, I think it's really cool. It's not as easy as Starbase 1. One at a time takes forever. Come on, turrets, don't let me down. Whoops, didn't hit that in time. I clicked off of that target by accident. I don't know what I'm doing at the moment. You find it hard to keep track of what's going on while trying to make my ship visible to the recording. Trying to let it be its abilities be seen. Nice loot drop. Have I got any herb in my tail? No. Sorry, I didn't read the ship's console. Okay, where are the Gem Hadar? Well, they've already been done. I must have been the distraction. Oh, did we get all the Gem Hadar?
Well done.
Yeah, we did. Okay, so now to activate the mine launchers. Repair. Repair. Launch mines. Launch them. Now, firepower. Try and get in from where his shields aren't angled. I keep forgetting to use my console, but I don't really need it right now. Right, any more to activate? Yep, looks like we've got all 4. I don't want to take anyone's kills if they're working hard on them. I want to help out, but I don't want to rob someone of a good kill that they've worked hard on. They are. I think that physical damage got him, I'm not sure. Target the one in front, you idiot! Talking to my ship. Oh, I can't hit those, what are they, space Houdinis? Can't target them for some reason. I must be missing something. So, which lane do I want to choose as my lane? I think I'll choose the middle one.
Hurt. Refugee ships heading down escape route Alpha. Protect them.
Oh, right, I'll go to this one since Odo didn't mention it. Never listen to Odo, he calls the battle wrong. He's not a combat veteran, he's a security officer. Not a tactical officer. Alright, maybe we've got time to launch some mines. These mines really do help. No, yep, there we go. Come on, launch the mines. I really need to learn how not to spam my spacebar so much. Can we launch some more? Incoming maybe? Am I getting helped by a lot of Jem'Hadar? Oh, Ghost is helping.
Third ship spotted at escape route Gamma. Get over there.
Turret kill.
Perk Dreadnought on sentries.
Where? I
Be
want
careful.
that. There it is. Dreadnought, you're mine. There, got him. Expense of my lane. This is proving to be quite fun. For me, at least. I don't know about you watching. Ah, I got some mines out just then. Chapter mines. I think I'm holding my own lane pretty well.
Hurt ship spotted at escape route Gamma. Get over there.
Hey, I just came from there. I was trying to help out between... And I don't see them. Odo told me there was enemies here. Odo, you lied.
We're speeding up
Do you
the
really want the
evacuation.
Federation to win?
All lanes will be utilized now.
Or do you want the downfall of the Dominion
Head to escape route Beta.
so you can take over your Gamma recruits? Well, I tried to launch mines just then from the turret, but I piloted my manoeuvre out of their way, out of their range.
Earth ship spotted at escape route Gamma. Get over there.
I'm here, Dodo, I'm here. Calm down.
Refugee ship heading down escape route Alpha. Protect them.
Let's awake all that crap they put out. Just in case it helps. I'm not exactly flying straight. But it looks like I'm drunk at the hill. Now I haven't got my wake and I got Herc on my tail just then. Fortunately they didn't last long. Advantage of a torpedo spray there. Some signals available. Hang on, are we on the last phase? Or have we got more phases to go? I'm not keeping track too well.
Earth ship spotted at escape route Gamma. Get over there. Okay,
I'll stay here then. Every time I fly away you call me back, Odo. I mean, come on.
Refugee ships heading down escape route Alpha. Protect them.
Right, I don't need to kill them straight away because the refugee ships aren't quite there, so I've got time to fly slowly towards them. Rank up some ability. Ow. Overkill! Little turrety. Deploy mines. You refugee ships, you've never been protected by such grace and sloppiness. Such graceful art of the sloppy. Gravity world. Just in perfect timing as well. Might as well use that since we're going. Plenty of time. And that.
That's everyone. It will be cold.
So,
hopefully the Turks
I didn't die.
will focus their next strikes on an uninhabited
Slash combat log. 0. Did I start combat log at the beginning? I don't remember. But I ended it, so you never know, we might get a result. How did we do? 4 satellites fixed, 9 Jem'Hadar ships saved, and 18 refugees saved. Analyze the log. Give it a moment. Hang on, there seems to be a problem with my combat log. Let me... analyze it again. No, it didn't work. I obviously didn't start it properly. I'll try typing in /combat log 0 again. And try analyzing again. Ah, well, the combat log didn't work that time. I must have done something wrong, or I'm using an outdated version or something. But for some reason it didn't work. But it doesn't matter anyway. So, depart system. Until next time, Odo. Oh! that was good at the end there, just big bang. It's like the Jem'Hadar's mind saying, I give up. Bang! So there you have it. That is my Risian pilot Corvette. The U.S.S. Reality Dysfunction. Named after a pretty good science fiction book. By Peter F. Hamilton. I don't remember the story very well though, because it was a long time ago when I read it. So I hope this video wasn't too boring, and I hope it was a bit better than the last one I put out with the bad sound quality. And I'm not claiming to be a great ship builder or anything, but I can seem to hold my own on advanced teams, so I'm quite... and this ship seems to make me quite pleased. I'm very happy with this ship. For a free ship it is freaking awesome. In fact, for any ship it's awesome. I've been having great fun with it. I mean, there's been a few free ships in the past that have been for specific builds, and if you're not using those builds they don't perform. This one does. So this one was well worth getting. worth every moment of the grind, and I really did do a lot of grinding this year for Riser. One last look at the build for you. Oh, look at all that loot I got. Yep, one last look at what I've got here. I tell you, polarized hull has come in very handy on this ship. Attack pattern Lambert triggers the trait since I'm not using the engineering ability that triggers it. The subspace wake, I don't usually get to use it that much, but it's a fun effect and it looks good. And the way I've built this ship, its shielding may be weak and its hull may be weak, but its speed and maneuverability seems to make up for it. And because I put it on added resistances and stuff, seems to also make up for it. Excuse me. And I should also mention that I haven't filled in any of my Endeavour perks yet. So I'm not getting any boosts from that, because instead of adding 1 point at a time and slowly creeping my account's power level up, I've decided to save them so that I can jump in power one day rather than slowly creep in power every day. So there you have it. I hope I wasn't too boring. I'm half asleep at the moment, and I think this might be a better video than my last one. Thanks for watching. Please comment if you want more spoken word videos like this, and like and subscribe if you're willing, and enjoy your Risian ship. Bye.